Hello, everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am your host, Ryan Doze, and today we are digging into the 16th issue of Immortal Thor, entitled Fire and Stone. It was a fantastic issue, and I can't wait to dig into it with a special guest who's never been on the show before. His name is Greg. He is the bearded comic bro. Greg, welcome to Across the Bifrost, man.
And I'm excited. It is and I'm excited to talk Thor because I don't get to talk Thor very often.
and Greg, we talked about this because you and I interact on Discord, we interact on Instagram. Actually, we kind of like discovered more things about each other through Discord. We have a small but mighty little band of people over there on Discord. So everybody, if you are a Discord user or you want to dip your toe into Discord, our group is a pretty good group to dip your toe into because there's not a lot of us, but we're our fun group. And there's a link in the episode description there if you want to check that out. But Greg and I got to know each other through these conversations, and we found out that we both love comics. Obviously, bearded comic bro, guy who's been doing a Thor podcast for over 2 years. But Greg is here to review an issue of a series he has not read. So, Greg, I asked you to I asked you to come do Immortal Thor. Yeah. So this was your first exposure to this series. First impressions, I guess, of the because how much? Well, maybe we should start here. What was your impression of Thor comics or Thor in comic storylines before this issue? That's probably a better place to start.
Yeah. No, I love it. You do all these podcasts, and the one podcast you invite me on is the one that I don't know anything
You're
about.
A wrestling fan. You like all the other comics, and you're like, Thor. Okay.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Let's make this work. So my impression of Thor, obviously I knew Thor from, the movies and things like that. I was also familiar with Thor through Jason Aaron's run, as well as I read Donny Cates's run. So I'm not a newbie to Thor.
Yeah.
But I am not proficient in my Thor knowledge.
What's so great about that is you say you're a newbie to Thor, but you've read the entire Jason Aaron run. That's over like 100 issues of Thor stuff.
I haven't read any of the Journey into the Mystery. I haven't read any of the
So you haven't read Walt Simonson's run of Thor? I mean, that to any Thor fan, that's an automatic eye roll, Greg.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I clarified that I'm a newbie to Thor.
But what's so great about that is Jason Aaron is why I read Thor comics, and Donny Cates was the run that had already begun when we started this podcast. So you've actually you're probably a lot more up to speed than even some lapsed Thor readers. So I'm glad to get your informed comics informed, but also fresh perspective on Immortal Thor, because throughout this series, we've had, obviously, myself and Faz and Will. We love talking about Immortal Thor. It's a number one pull in our list every single week. But also, we've had friends who are you are longtime Thor readers like Eric Teskey, who's a good friend of ours, Alex, who's our big Amora and the Enchantress super fan. They are voices that have been invested in this story for 16 issues, and you're coming in completely blind, completely cold, and you get dropped into Fire and Stone.
Yeah.
So I didn't even
prep for it. I didn't backtrack.
We'll give a synopsis, but and after I give that synopsis, I would love to know kind of your first impressions of just the vibe of this run, because we've changed artists, we've had consistent writing, we've changed a few things, so having your fresh perspective will be really awesome. But for those of you that don't remember, in Thor 15, we left Thor after having a conversation with Amora the Enchantress in Asgard. And Amora asks Thor if he can bring back her son Eric, who is he's an Asgardian, and Amora views it as kind of sort of Thor's fault that Eric died in Strange Academy. So we start off this issue with Thor and Sif having this conversation of what should I do? Should I bring him back? Should I not? And I know Greg and I both have some thoughts on that section, but then we leave Asgard again, and Thor goes back to Midgard. And wouldn't you know, when he gets back to Midgard, who is waiting there? It's the classic villain on the cover of this issue. It's Chen-Lu, the radioactive man. He's there. The cops are trying to stop Thor because, I don't know if you remember this, Thor fans, the last time Thor was on Midgard, he was wanted for a double homicide. So he comes back.
Right.
Oh, you're the guy from the Thing, man. So Thor shows back up. And Chen-Lu tries to like get the cops to call off the dogs by saying, "Oh no, I'm a member of the Thunderbolts." He flashes the Thunderbolt badge, and they're like, "Dude, this thing is like wicked expired. This is not going to apply." So Chen-Lu and Thor, of course, get into a smash 'em up 60s style Silver Age fight, and Chen-Lu, wouldn't you know, he lures Thor into an ambush, and this ambush involves not only himself, but the Cobra, Carl Voorhees, the Mr. Hyde, Calvin Zabo, and the Gray Gargoyle. So we're talking like, we're journeying to mystery, debuting villains in the Thor book. And we'll get to our buddy Chris Fazio's thoughts in a little bit. He sent them to me. He requires that I read them in lieu of his attendance here. But
is that part of the Patreon discount? If you want your thoughts read on the podcast, make sure
you know what that might not actually be a bad idea, Greg. That's pretty good.
Listen, it's just not a hat rack, okay, baby?
An idea machine is attached to these shoulders. Faz equated this to maybe Thor, maybe the Minotaur Dario Agger is assembling a kind of version of the Sinister Six for Thor, and that idea gets me wicked excited. So we end the issue with Thor being touched by the Gray Gargoyle, being turned into stone, and the Gray Gargoyle realizes, oh no, with Thor's belt of endurance, he's going to be able to withstand my touch, because normally the Gray Gargoyle's touch lasts an hour. But the Gray Gargoyle is realizing if I release my hand from him, he's going to turn back to his normal self immediately. Then Mr. Hyde's like, I don't see a problem with this. And the Mr. Hyde, he busts up Thor like if Thor was a statue, and he destroys the statue. And that's where we're left at the end of this issue. Greg, you have not read any Immortal Thor before this. You kind of got a cupcake issue for lore and understanding, but what was your first impression overall, just the impression of this issue?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, because a good comic book, you get a little bit of dialogue, you also get a little bit of beat 'em up, smash 'em up. Like that's right. That's the model. Like
it checks all the boxes.
Yeah. So, I had to do a little bit of like searching. Like, do I know this character? Ooh, I don't know this character. Like, I had to do some of that in my, it's like when I was like, when I watch a movie with my wife or a TV show, she's like, who's that? I'm like, I don't know who that is. So like, it's some of those like, do I know that person yet? Do we know? I'm like, I think we do. They showed up in episode 3. So I kind of had to do this with some of these characters, like trying to figure out who's what. But you get some cool moments on Asgard. As you mentioned, they're having that dialogue of, do I do this? Do I bring him back, or do I not take him out of Valhalla? The fight, come on, like the classic, like,
so good.
Take him out of the street because it's too crowded. Let's go to an abandoned warehouse. And it's like, some just good old, just beat the tar out of each other superhero stuff is going to happen. So, right. I mean, right off the bat, and then the cliffhanger, like, I get it. We know it's a comic book, and it's a comic book about Thor.
We're not stupid. He's not dying.
Spoiler alert, gang. I haven't read issue 17, and I just checked to make sure that's what I haven't read issue 17, but Thor's going to be okay.
Somehow he'll walk this off.
However, I still that's what I love about comics, because I still had that moment going, oh,
right.
Like like those fighters, the fight commentators where they're all like, oh, like that's where I was with that, because I'm like, yeah, I get it. He's going to get fixed. He's going to happen, but I still like that, man. That was a good ending page.
And it's funny because you were saying you didn't know who these villains were. These 4 kind of B leaguers. I mean, really in the scope of Thor villains. These are like sea level villains.
Thor has that many villains that these are more like these.
Oh yeah. Levels? Thor's, you know what? This might be a good episode to do in the future. Thor's Rogues Gallery and where it stacks up against other Marvel heroes. I'm not saying he has a top tier Rogues Gallery, but like it's one of those Rogues Galleries where the top guys are tippy top, and then there's a lot of like there's a few A tier people, but there's a lot of C tier people.
See, so you're gonna need to bring
lows are low.
You're gonna need to bring me on though when you do that, because here's the deal. Because I feel like you're in your Thor world that you need someone that's not like read every single Thor thing to be like, hold your horses. That is not a B list. That's a C list.
So okay. Well, here, real quick off the cuff. Let's just go into this real quick, Greg. Let's toss Spider-Man out because Spider-Man clearly has the best Marvel Rogues Gallery. I think that's pretty fair to say.
So we're sticking in Marvel.
Best Marvel Rogues Gallery off the top of your head.
And you're taking out Spider-Man off the bat.
Yeah, let's leave Spidey out.
Okay. What's nope. Not Cap. I'm like going through my head, not Cap. Not maybe Hulk. Like I don't like there's not a lot of superheroes that have, even DC, that have like well-known rogues galleries. I think you got a couple.
Batman.
I mean, Batman and Spider-Man have the best.
Probably the tippy top.
Yeah.
I could make a case for the Fantastic Four. With Doctor Doom, Annihilus, Galactus at the top.
And then wasn't Black Panther showed up in that, so like you get some good first appearances.
Black Panther made his first appearance in the FF as a, I don't know if you would classify him as a villain.
Not a villain, but
vigilantes where they're like, are we on the same side as this guy or not?
Right.
But hey, maybe
crossover mix up.
Maybe that's an interesting episode for later down the road. Where does Thor's Rogues Gallery stand up against other Marvel people? I think that might be an interesting discussion.
I mean, because that's the thing is like, I don't think Iron Man has Iron Man. Iron Man was a C-list character until the Marvel movies.
Thank you.
So
good grief. Thank you so much, Greg.
He wasn't even on the cover of Infinity War. He was on the back cover.
To hear another comic book fan say that is liberating. It is freeing, and I now feel like
that's what I'm here for, Ryan. I'm just here to free your soul, liberate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's get back to our smash 'em up fight. Yes. So I loved this fight. I love that the four villains who have never really gotten the upper hand on Thor in their history, they kind of showed up as like villain of the month people, and then they would show back up and Thor would beat them up again, and then they beat them up again. Like they're finally getting like the upper hand on the God of Thunder. And Dario Aggo, the Minotaur, who you're probably familiar with from the Jason Aaron run, he is behind the scenes and his cloned body is pulling the strings. I am, like you said, Greg, Thor's not dead. We know that. But how, like, he's currently a pile of gravel in the bottom of a abandoned warehouse. How are we going to get out of this situation? It's like, we're in trouble. How are we going to get out of this? Well, tune in next time, true believers.
Right. Like if it was Clayface, Clayface would be fine, like broken up like that. But like, I don't know about Thor. Like he doesn't have that.
This is where we find out that Mjolnir can like has Clayface type powers. Now that would be fun. Earlier on in the issue, though, we already referenced this. Sif and Thor have a very interesting conversation about the morality of possibly bringing someone back from Valhalla. Greg, would you mind just like sharing a few of your thoughts about like why did that? You said every good comic has a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of smash 'em up action. Why did this dialogue hit for you in this issue?
Because I think it has a real life connotations to it, right? Like, for example, we've all gone through grief. We've all gone through loss in our life. If you haven't, you will. Like, that's the fact of life. And so I think we're right here, and like we all have regrets. And I think Thor's kind of trying to process through this a little bit. He's trying to wrestle with these regrets of like, the mom's like, you should have been there. You should have helped. And this is all, again, what I'm gathering from this 4-page conversation that happened. And it was super deep. And I think Thor's trying to wrestle like, well, could I and should I, pull him out of Valhalla, bring him back to the mortal realm, and kind of like be able to almost bring him back to life. And it's that dilemma of, just because you can, should you? And then
right,
what does it do? Does that take away, like what Eric wanted? Would Eric want that? Would he want, is it given up? And then do you do that for everyone? Why is this one more special than anyone else? Like, it's not your Jane. It's not, like it's
right.
So like, where do you draw the line? So like, to have kind of, was it Sif who's talking with him?
Yeah. So let me just read what Thor says at the end of the conversation. He says, young Eric died in battle. He resides now in Valhalla. 'Tis in my power to grant him a reprieve from that hall. And then Sif interjects, says, from an eternal reward? Will he thank you for this, Thor? And will the other Einherjar not then petition you for their own day among the living? What then? Will you blow the great Yowler horn and summon the dead for every grieving mother, or only for this one? Sif hits hard here.
Yeah.
Al Ewing writes this so beautifully.
So good. That's that's a craftsman right there. You can have such a deep conversation in those 4 pages. That's where Al Ewing's been doing this for a while, because he knows how to write dialogue in the script right there.
Right. It's so great because we've kind of been playing that juxtaposition of like, we get a serious in-depth conversation and then we get kind of silly, Marvel team up style action. What I love is that Al throughout this series has been proving he can do both simultaneously within the same issue. We can have a lot of fun. He can poke fun at characters. I mean, literally just a few issues ago, we had a joke, not a joke issue, but kind of a parody issue come out called Roxxon Presents Thor.
Was that like, okay, you guys were all talking about in the Discord, and I looked at like a picture, it looked like a shell corporation or something. Okay.
Yep. It's basically the Roxxon Corporation in Marvel Comics bought the rights to Thor's image and likeness. And so they recreated their own version of Thor as a kind of they hire, not hire, but they get a shapeshifter to play Thor as this AI spokesperson named Chad Hammer. And he is Roxxon Thor. It was a hilarious issue. I don't know if I could have read a whole miniseries of it, but the intermediate issue that Al did for it was so good. It poked a lot of fun. So it really showed how Al can have a lot of fun with this character. But then we get these deep conversations that he's had with Sif. He had a deep conversation with Amora last issue, with Loki, with Hercules. I love the balance that Al is able to strike in this Thor book. It's really, really awesome.
Al Ewing's like, hey, listen, Kevin Feige, check this out. I got a really funny issue. We can do an episode of TV or Thor. You got Chris Hemsworth. We'll bring on Liam. It'll work out great.
Chad Hammer. So if you sometimes you should just go read it, Greg, because it reads like, put it this way, that issue reads like every complaining person on the internet's version of Chris Hemsworth. Like they dumbed down Thor. Oh my gosh, they made him look so stupid. I'm like, then you will love Roxxon Presents Thor, because it's
love that his name's Chad
Hammer.
Chad Hammer.
And he drives a Cybertruck. It's fantastic.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Let's go.
So well, here, let's do this. Do you have some overarching like wrap up thoughts, Greg? And then we'll get into some plugs and we'll talk about some Discord stuff. But do you have any overarching thoughts about an issue of a series that you're not currently following, but you kind of got off easy on this one, Greg?
Well, and obviously you're right. I got off easy here, but I'm not trying to butter you all up, because this is the Thor podcast. Like, if I hated it, I would tell you I didn't like it.
Please bring on the butter. Bring on the butter.
But this felt like a good old comic, good old fashioned comic book, from the idea of when I was a kid reading comic books. I didn't have a comic book store. I would pick up whatever the half price bookstore had. And I'm like, ooh, that's a cool Batman cover. I was reading these comics and I had no idea what happened before or after. So like this brought me back to like my nostalgic childhood of like, ooh, I don't know what happened before here. I don't know if I'm gonna know what's gonna happen afterwards because my poll list is just big. I don't know. I want to know, but I don't. So maybe I'll just listen. Who knows to the podcast? But it's
Weirdly,
what I liked is it could I could jump in and enjoy it.
Well, so just to piggyback off that real quick, weirdly enough, this comic fit all the right parts of what I enjoy in a classic comic. I had something to think about. I had some action to look at. Great art. I think Jan Basil Dua is doing so well with Thor now. I think the first few issues, I was like, okay, we're gonna get there. I think now Jan is there. Okay. I think Jan has finally like gotten Thor's world down. I love Matt Hollingsworth's colors. It's still weird that we're not looking at Matthew Wilson, the award-winning Matthew Wilson's colors. This shift in art team is it's a whirlwind, but I'm finally getting used to this art. And this issue was kind of weirdly perfect. Great art, great things to think about, great action, and we had a reason to pick up issue 17. I think that is one thing that sometimes with long-running series, it's like, okay, they're just going to tell the story, but if this were a month-by-month book, I would have a reason to pick up issue 17 other than I'm going to pick it up anyway.
Right. Is this not month by month?
It is. I'm just saying, like, you said it felt like an old school comic.
Yes.
Where, now we live in the world where stories are kind of written for the trade.
They really
stories are written in that 4 or 5 issue arc. And this felt like again, like a classic Stan Lee kind of, cliffhanger, like come back next month, true believer.
Well, it's like same bat time, same bat channel. All the 1966 were all they release one day and then the next day you come back. It's because you want that hook. Batman's going to escape from Mr. Freeze snow cone trap, but you want to know what
snow cone trap.
Dude, that was a good episode. It's so good. That's another rabbit hole.
Just riffing there. I have to go find Batman Adam West escaping a snow cone trap.
Yes, you do.
Oh. Well, I have to do that immediately after this.
Should all you who are listening. Yes. It's a great one.
Maybe if I can find a YouTube clip, I'll put that in the episode description. Like this, Greg's recommendation. Like if you do anything this week, go watch this.
Just it'll melt your hearts. Just like
Mr. Bazinga. Dad joke appreciator to dad joke giver.
Listen,
that was good stuff.
I'm here all day.
So everybody, we promised you at the top of the episode that we would share Chris Fazio's thoughts on this issue. So here's what the Faz Guardian had to say about Immortal Thor 16. He requested that I do this in a impressionistic voice.
Ooh.
I have lost my Faz impression. So I guess we'll give it a shot. Here are his thoughts. Never thought I would see Thor rock hard. Oh God, I can't.
We're off to a great start, Bass.
Never thought I would see Thor rock hard in a Marvel comic, but leave it to Ewing to go against the Comics Code Authority. Wow. Man, I should have previewed this. Jan's art continues to get better and better each issue. Love seeing Thor and Sif on the Bifrost with Asgard in the background. That was some astonishing artwork. It was fantastic. Really cool idea to have the mortal gods of Earth. And I think that's how Thor is referring to this like Sinister Six style team. Excited to see how Thor deals with his own team. The belt is growing on me. I clearly need a WWE belt for my cosplay. Greg, you and I are both wrestling fans. Should Faz incorporate the WWE title into this?
No. Here's what he should incorporate.
Oh, okay.
The 24/7 title.
Oh my God.
Have a villain of the week take it. Whoever can. And that way then you just passes along. It's the villain. It's someone's going to take
my thought. That's way better.
In like 3 issues, someone's going to take his belt because it's just like Batman's utility belt. You always got to take it off him. And gang, I love how I keep referring to that. That's my fandom. Sorry, it's what it is. And then you're going to be like, and you're only going to be able to read it now as the 24/7
title. We have a few listeners who are also wrestling fans that are going to love that you said 24/7 title. And I do love that. Thor's belt clearly looks like a wrestling belt. And it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, everybody, those are Faz's thoughts on this issue. I think,
man, if he gets that in the trade, I would like, if he gets quoted that in the trade, that'd be fantastic. Just that first line. Like that's all I want. Like,
yeah,
I will, if Marvel makes that happen, I'll put it on my pull list indefinitely.
wow, high stakes. So if maybe any members of the Thor creative team that are listening, petition. We need to get another monthly Immortal Thor reader.
That's right.
So we are going to just quickly preview the solicitation for Immortal Thor 17. Quick description. The cover is Thor kind of halfway between being like a stone statue and halfway between, being, lively and color, and all that stuff. So here is the solicitation for the next issue. I love this team name. I hope this is the team name, Greg. The Gods of Midgard rise. You've already sold me. I've read one line and you've already sold me on the next issue, Al Ewing. Thank you. 4 new gods walk the earth, called by Thor's foes to be his death, a man of fire, a man of stone, a beast of wrath, and a trickster serpent. All had reason to hate the thunder god, and working together, they had the power to end the All-Father's reign. This is the story of the immortal Thor and what broke him last. Wow. I mean, Greg, you've got to buy next issue. Come on.
I mean, it's like the 4 Horsemen. Like, this sounds...
Greg, everybody, this is why you read comics with your friends. They will point out things that you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
My gosh. So, Greg, any final thoughts about 16? Maybe some of the solicitation that we just read. Anything that you're just
I'm looking at the cover for 17. Alex Ross, Chef's Kiss. Like,
yeah. He's Alex Ross is obviously he's a legend. He'll go down in every Comics Hall of Fame ever. But his Grey Gargoyle is fantastic.
Yeah. It's and great. Like that was getting to know these characters these villains that I didn't know with Cobra and Grey Gargoyle and the whatever Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde, Radioactive Man.
Yeah, so it was fun. You had the dumb cops that bothered me reading this of like they trust a Radioactive Man with an outdated Thunderbolts expired card, and they're like, but this proves that Thor is the bad guy. Like, come on.
They trust him more than a founding Avenger.
Like, come on. Like, that's like, if that's my only knock, like that's my knock on the issue is like those cops were dumb and like they were made to look like morons, and maybe that's the point. So but
yeah, and I think that was either we're supposed to laugh at them because it was ridiculous, or we're supposed to laugh at them because they're not really moving along with Thor's plan there. So everybody, before we head out here, I just want Greg to let you know where you can find what he's working on. I started following Bearded Comic Bro I feel like a long time ago, but I mean, dude, the thing you do better than just about everybody I think you do it better than me, is you do interviews, you do creator interviews. Can you just tell people? We'll share some links in the episode description, but can you just tell people what you do, what you love to do on your channel and your account?
Yeah. So, I mean, Bearded Comic Bro everywhere comic books are found on social media. So, but I mean, my channel, long story short, my channel started 4 years ago. It was just like a hodgepodge of different stuff, like unboxings and like game shows with my wife and cooking shows, and
who is also a star in her own right.
She is. She's the star, and so she comes on now for guest appearances. But it really has shifted because of my time and stuff to 100% fully just being a creator interview channel. Yeah. On YouTube, so you can get it on YouTube. You can get it wherever you listen to podcasts, so Spotify, Apple Music, all those, wherever you podcast, you can get those. Yeah. But like, I mean, my main focus is YouTube video. Like that's how I started it. It's because I like to see people. I like to interact, to see their facial expressions and stuff. So just with the time that takes now, like that is, I put out one every week, and it takes up a lot of time. So that's where my channel is.
Who are some of the creators you've been able to interview more recently that people might be interested to go check out?
More recently, so it's a mix from everything from like self-published Kickstarter people to indie comics to Marvel, DC. So recently I've had Steve Orlando on. We go deep into Scarlet Witch stuff.
Steve Orlando is a delight and also a massive wrestling fan.
Yeah. For my Thor people, at the end of this year, so coming up a year, I had Jason Aaron on. We don't dig too much into Thor because I felt like he was probably tired of talking about Thor and wanted to talk about DC endeavors. So like
understandable. Plus he's got a lot of cool shit going on right now.
Yeah. I had Patton Oswalt on and we talked about
that was awesome.
So that was cool. Kelly Thompson, who's doing Birds of Prey, Ryan North, who's doing the Fantastic Four. Darcy Van Polgeest, who's doing Precious Metal, which was Lil Bird, which is going to be one of my Precious Metal is probably going to be one of my favorite comics of 2024. So
okay.
It's everything. So it's big names, it's smaller names, it's up and coming names. I like to find out the process. And if it's someone I haven't had on, we kind of go deeper into their origin story. But Steve Orlando was on this was like his third or fourth time. So like we skip that stuff and just get right into the heart of let's talk Scarlet Witch. Like what is going on? That's what it is. And then I'm posting on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and stuff of like comics I'm reading, Comic Cons I'm going to, stuff like that. So like the social medias, it goes a little bit more than just interviews. But that's what the focus of my podcast and my YouTube channel are.
Dude, I mean, everyone, I'm going to put some links in the episode description here. You should go check it out. The Kelly Thompson interview kicks all the ass. She is a delight. She should definitely go check some of that. There's so much over there to enjoy, and go follow Greg at Instagram and on TikTok and all those places. Well, man, thank you so much.
If you do, let me know that you found me through Across the Bifrost, so that way I can nerd out we can talk Thor stuff and I can know. So if shoot me a message, say, hey, I heard you on the podcast, and we can talk that way. So that way I know. Otherwise, because I don't want just another follower. I want to talk to y'all. So
we got into social media for the social aspect of it. So everybody, go follow Greg, go interact with this stuff. It's fantastic. You will have a good time doing it. And as for us, you can check us out on Instagram, Mighty Thor Podcast. You want to talk with Greg and I and other comic book fans that we've had on this podcast, go check out our Discord link. It is a fantastic group of people. If you want to talk sports, we talk sports. Greg and I are just hours away from an Iowa State matchup that is sure to shred our Discord in half. And by the time you're hearing this, it will have happened. So either Greg's really happy or I'm predictably not as happy. So it's going to be a rough one, Greg.
Yeah. But no offense, I'm hoping it's rough for you and not me.
I kind of figured you wouldn't let me off the hook for that one. Big Ten football, we take it very serious here in the Midwest. So everybody, you can check us out on all those places. And if you want to support the show at the next level, check out our Patreon. We've got some stuff going up there real soon. I'm going to be heading back into the reviewing of Avengers. I really want to do that. And we're going to do that because I know Thor just left the Avengers book in lieu of Storm. So we got to catch up to current. And
you always got to have someone that does lightning on the Avengers. So
Thor said we have to have a God of Thunder on the Avengers. And Aurora is definitely it's a great substitute.
I didn't even read it, gang, but I knew that.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. And as we say every time, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at in the 9 realms, we hope that you will just be well and remember one thing, and that is to stay worthy.
And whoever holds this hammer, if it be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Bum bum ba dum bum.